Welcome back. Amid the military standoff at the Sikkim border, China now wades into the issue of Kashmir by saying that the situation has quote-unquote attracted international attention. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Geng Shuang says, and I quote, that the situation in Kashmir has attracted attention of the international community. Both India and Pakistan are important countries in South Asia. Conflicts occurred near LOC in Kashmir, and this will not only harm peace and stability of the two nations, but peace and tranquility of the region. Ironically, China has spoken of the LOC firing, but remains silent on the recent attacks on the Amarnath pilgrims. Anand Krishnan joins us for more on this. Anand, it's interesting to see China's, sudden interest in the affairs of Jammu and Kashmir. They say that, the stability and peace of the two regions is important, but still no comments being made on the ceasefire violations, on the number of encounters, the kind of people and casualties that have happened in the past, and the very latest terror attack on the Amarnath pilgrims.
That's right, Avantika. It will certainly be seen as needling. It's very interesting timing as well. Though it must be said, China was responding to a question from a Pakistani journalist. But at the same time, the fact that Beijing used the words international attention on the LOC situation and at the same time didn't offer any words on the Amarnath attack, I think it's a really glaring discrepancy in the way China has commented on the situation in Kashmir. And for good reason, there will be concerns and questions asked in Delhi about this.
Absolutely. Just stay on with me. In fact, in another provocation, China has also rebutted Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar's recent comments on the border standoff. And the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson saying, and I quote, China has pointed out many times that illegal trespass into China's territory across a mutually recognized borderline is different in nature to the ongoing friction that has happened in the undefined sections of boundary. Anand, there is an attempt from the Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar and the Indian Prime Minister himself to try and downscale the rhetoric, but no attempts from the Chinese side to do the same.
No, that's right. They appear to be in no mood to de-escalate their very shrill rhetoric we've seen for 2 weeks now. And when asked about the Foreign Secretary's comments, they were pretty much rebutted it very directly, saying that, well, this is not similar to incidents in the past that we handled. This is completely different because this is not an undefined border. So China says, as far as they see it, you can't compare this from past incidents. And again, they reiterated very quickly, just saying that before any talk can happen, India has to first withdraw its troops.
But, he makes a very important point there, S. Jaishankar, saying that there have been differences in the past. There have been border skirmishes in the past, and it's not something that is not known. But how serious is this escalation this time around between India and China?
That's right, Avantika. The fact is that there have been many such incidents, and the whole fact is that there are the mechanisms in place through diplomatic channels in Beijing and Delhi and through on-the-ground meetings. But it appears in this case these channels are being tested to the limit. In fact, Indian officials have said just yesterday that in their view the flag meetings have now become pointless because there's such a strong stalemate. And the Chinese seem to be saying publicly that we'll only use these channels once you withdraw, which is something that they haven't done before. So in that sense, we are in uncharted waters. But the hope, of course, is that ultimately these channels that have been built with great efforts by both countries since 1988 will ultimately hold, and that diplomacy will be able to settle the situation.
But China is in no mood to relent just as yet, Anand. I mean, as you rightly said, a shrill rhetoric, and they're even going to the extent of indulging in warmongering and ratcheting up tensions.
That's right. In this instance, Avantika, it's all coming from China. India has been very sober. If you remember, there's only been one statement on June 30th. The Ministry of External Affairs hasn't said anything since then, which is in very stark contrast to the fact that here we have almost daily statements which keep referring to the fact that India was to blame, India trespassed, and that there was no room for a diplomatic solution unless India withdrew. So they're really keeping up a public pressure, whether it's a negotiating tactic or what the ultimate objective is, it remains to be seen. But the very fact is it may sort of backfire on China in the sense that the more they adopt this very shrill public rhetoric, the more they are sort of narrowing the space for a compromise. And at the same time, they also are creating very adverse public opinion in India as well. So their strategy really, there are a lot of questions to be asked why they are following this route.
Absolutely. Anand, thanks so much for joining us.